Breathe. Hello.
Hello.
We're breathing. Let's put this, we're trying to catch our breath. Just to keep up with everything that's happening. Today is February 5th. Inauguration was January 20th. Right?
And more's been done in that few times.
Yes, more has been done and uncovered and taken care of than I can remember in this short a period.
Do you have any favorites?
Oh, there's just so many. Yes, U.S. aid.
Yes, loving that.
Oh,
Doesn't
yes.
it make you disgusted, though, the things that our money has been spent on that we didn't approve? Because people are up there spending your money and approving things that you wouldn't have approved.
Yes.
Transgender coloring books for countries and other people in other
Colombia,
countries.
yes, a transgender orchestra in Ireland.
I mean, why do we need to
Why?
do that? What does that help the country? How does that
When
aid
we
help
have
the country?
people in North Carolina and California
Thank you.
who need this money.
Exactly. It boils my blood.
Needs
And
this
hopefully
money.
it's going to boil the blood of the American people.
I hope so. I was just, I actually looked, sitting here, because I was curious about our president's favorability. It's kind of interesting because he scores higher with people under 70.
Yeah, the 70 and
understand
over.
why they're-
At the election, it was
Yeah.
65 and higher that didn't want to vote for him.
What?
But because they're conditioned in their mind that he's going to be deleting programs and taking things away and stuff, and that's not what he's doing. He is trying to get the money back into the coffers, and he's trying to seal the holes that people have been just sending our money out of.
What's sad is those people in that group are the ones that have retired money and are living, they have the money. Why are they upset about it? I am in that group, and I love what he's doing.
Yeah, but you think more frugally.
Yes.
I mean, you don't want to spend any money that is not necessary, and you're not going to.
I don't believe in entitling.
Well, it just boils my blood. So, if I had put you in charge, and you're the treasurer, and you're the one that's supposed to be spending money, and we're sending money to you to do things with, and you're sending it to things that I wouldn't approve of, or ridiculous things, and not spending it on my people or it's like with our organization. If the money was being spent on things that didn't benefit our organization or what our mission is, it boils my blood. I mean, they're spending it it's one thing if you're helping somebody to build back, but if you're helping them to build back and it's transgender, that's on them. I mean, building back means helping them put up infrastructure, helping them put up telephones and pipeline, and water and things like that, not helping them do an orchestra for
Comic books for transgender.
No, I'm sorry, no.
I mean, he's just,
The stupid things that they're spending the money on that could be going to our people who are in desperate need.
yes.
I mean, look at Detroit. Detroit's a poor city and stuff. We could be pumping money back into our school systems.
Yes.
We could be putting money into anything other than some of the stuff that they're doing.
And the funniest thing is people can't keep up with him. Today he's going to be signing something to do, it's the Title IX. Women's sports, women playing in women's sports.
Makes sense.
Not men playing in women's sports. And that's, I was watching the other day, one volleyball coach that's a renowned volleyball coach was in North Carolina. I don't want to say what school it was, but she got suspended because she does not want transgender members on her volleyball team. It's dangerous.
And it only makes sense.
Suspended her. And some of the players
She'll get that in court. She'll win that one.
She'll win that because there was one player very badly injured that can't play anymore. I saw that. And there's just so much. I was just reading about, you can see what's on my phone, 20,000 federal workers have taken the buyout. And that's only a small percentage, and they're hoping to get like 10% of the 2 million.
Well, the rest of us have gone back to work. I don't know why the federal government can't. I don't understand that.
Well, these people are what, at home working?
Well, supposedly. Supposedly. But I mean, if you can actually come into work, and I mean, if President Trump is there every day, and his people are there every day, I don't get it. If you don't want to come back to work, then take the buyout and go home.
That's one, there's just so much going on.
And a lot of this, there's so many extra people in the federal government that you don't need.
Redundancy. Yes.
Because a lot of times, they'll be like, well, that's not my job. And it's like, well, you could have just walked it over here and got a signature, couldn't you? It's not my job to do that. We have to wait for the, and it's like, I'm sorry. What's the efficiency and where, no,
No, so I'm just, there's just so much. I can't keep, he has done more in almost, not quite 3 weeks, under 3 weeks. Well, it's like 15 days. Yeah, 15 days that the other administration did nothing.
For the last several. I mean, last time he got a lot done, but he started getting hindered because they started the Russian collusion thing. He would have gotten even more done, but this time he's rocking and rolling because he knows that the American public wants this.
And he
promised for it. He promised it. Now, as far as the federal workers go, they can take the buyout and they've got 8 months.
That's right.
But a lot of them make more money than our school teachers do. Or our sheriff's departments, or our police departments.
That's right.
And I mean, when you think about what these people do every day, is that fair either? I mean, so I know it seems like I'm unsympathetic, but all you're doing is right now you're being given a choice. And if you don't like it, here you go. Take this for 8 months, find you something else that's close by or something you can do and work from home. But we're about putting this country back together, and it's going to take breaking it down to get it put back together.
Got to clean out the house.
Well,
you do. That's what he's got a big dumpster, and it's going into it.
Because, sometimes you do. Sometimes you got to get down to the bare bones.
And start over.
And then you start saying, okay, yeah, we do need this. And then we'll add it back on, but we're not going to add it on maybe as gigantically as what...
I just love all of his picks. And they're making their way through. They're getting confirmed.
It's funny how some of them are really getting stalemated, though, and so it makes me wonder what they're scared of. What you scared of? Mm-hmm. Because they're finding out some of the FBI agents were not good either. So all the stuff that we've been saying about January 6th, it's true. Mm-hmm. Were there maybe some bad guys? Yes, but not the majority. And the ones that wound up in jail did not all deserve to be there.
Some of them didn't even get due process.
No, they did not get due process. Mm-hmm. And, and when you feel railroaded into something, I mean, the justice system, I don't totally believe. I appreciate it because I feel like it's better in other countries, but I don't have faith in it. I don't have total faith in it. Because it depends on if you're working with a shady government. If you're working with a shady judge, shady lawyers, people that really want to help you or don't want to help you.
And I'm not going to mention them, but we had a visitor last week and we were talking. And very interesting that criminals can lie. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And, they'll lie to you. And then that's one of the biggest things that you believe they're really being true. And they're really, no, they're lying. They're really good liars, and they're lying. But if somebody claims that someone in law enforcement has lied, they can lose their job and not ever get another job.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not due process for them.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
That's not due process for them. And this person is working on getting that straightened out because it's harmed, some law enforcement locally because a lie was told and they have no way of saying that's not true, but it's gone. They're out of it. And that's not fair because criminals get more of an advantage than the honest people. Now, from a teacher's point of view, that could have happened with me when I was a permanent substitute and that kid planted the pot plants in my classroom. And I didn't know it other than, thank God, one young teenager came up and told me. Because he could have been setting me up. What's your recourse, you know?
I know, because you technically are the adult in the family.
Yes.
And you're the responsible one for...
And I kept thanking him for water. But then he was my geraniums. They were the other teacher's geraniums that she brought in for the winter so she could put them back outside. And I kept thanking him. And sure enough, they were there. And I think he was trying to set me up. And the ironic thing is I wanted the principal and the department chairperson to come in, and they would not come in. They did not want to see these plants.
Because then they would have culpability or...
Exactly.
I mean, it's like, okay, we can't, what we don't know.
Exactly, and that's the point that I'm making here with law enforcement. It's the same thing. I mean, you can claim they did something and there's no recourse. They're suspended and they're out and that's it. And fortunately for me, is I had a friend who was an attorney, and I called him, and I told him the situation, and he says, I'm going to be meeting with the local lieutenant, and I'll let you know what's happening. And it was fine, and I knew who had done it. And, flash forward 30 years, and that person was in law enforcement in Schenectady. He got caught. He served much prison time, and now he's on the talk circuit about why you shouldn't be into drugs. So he's kind of making more money than I ever did doing that. But the point is, you need to have some criteria, and you need to treat everyone fairly. And what our new president's doing is he's cleaning house.
And people think that it's revenge, and it's not. It's not that he's having any revenge on anybody. But if you happen to fall under the umbrella and you get caught and you're caught doing something, then you may be the one to go out.
Well, they've defamed him and they've defamed other people in some instances.
But he's not targeting anyone. He doesn't have a bullseye on anybody.
No. If the shoe fits, you're going to wear it.
But they were doing wrong, and now that the new sheriff is there, he can start pulling back the covers and seeing, oh, so you were involved. And like with Nancy Pelosi, it's coming out that she denied the extra officers. She denied the extra help and stuff on January 6th. Because she wanted it. It was a setup.
That's exactly.
She is a setup.
She wanted it to happen. She wanted...
Much as these people that are crying, because he's only made it two genders. It's only two genders. He's not done anything that none of us don't know about. You can still claim to be a cat. You can claim to be whatever you want.
But when the DNA comes out, it's going to be one or the other.
I mean, I saw snippets of the Grammys, and I'm like, I'm so glad I don't watch those shows. Because that is just ridiculous.
Somebody said, did you watch it? No. I
don't want to see these sickos. They're sick people.
It's like, what was there one of them? Was it Kanye West's wife showed up in a net? And she was basically nude that was on Megyn Kelly had that. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Well, I saw a picture of Will Smith's son that had the castle on his head.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know. But I'm like, these are not people that I would want to invite to a party, hang around, have anything to do with. I don't even listen to most of their music, so... Anyway, I just don't have any, but I mean, I don't like it. And, like I said, he's not stopping you from doing anything. He's just saying it's not going to be a part of anything. You and I have talked about it before all this. It used to be merit, and it's going back to merit.
Yes.
And that's what, I think they said that some of the air traffic controllers, they're not being able to hire those because they were too white.
Well, did you see what
I don't understand that.
They were basic. Megyn Kelly had on her podcast the criteria, and in one of them, if you played college sports, you got so many points.
To be an air traffic controller?
Mm-hmm. But if you were a pilot, in the armed forces, you got 0.
Well, that makes no sense.
Exactly.
Would a pilot over a basketball player?
So what they're playing, we want team players.
But if you're a pilot, you are a team player.
I mean-
Because you gotta work with your crew chiefs and everything to get the mission done. And you gotta be able to follow orders and do, no, that's stupid.
And I just saw.
And you know the error.
I just saw on one podcast or one little thing about the number of near misses at Reagan National Airport that's happened.
Well, if you're short-handed and you're having to go over here and do this, and that...
Maybe you ought to say to the armed forces, don't do a training mission tonight because we don't have enough air traffic controllers. Or if you do, go in a different direction.
Something,
Because
there's gotta be...
2 people, one for one and one for the other, and something, it was a...
We're still investigating this one,
Oh
so
my gosh.
so it's not totally done
We
yet.
have no idea.
But
if you
some
watch
of the
some of those
things-
pictures and some of those videos, it was like, did they plan that? I mean, it just like, what was going on there?
And especially for me, because you're talking about a Black Hawk that has the most updated equipment in the world. I mean, it is a Black Hawk. To me, it's like a flying Tesla.
It's just like,
I mean, so how in the, there's something missing with the picture.
and
that-
my thing is, why are they in that area doing training? Why don't they come down here to Fort Pickett or Barfoot or whatever the heck it is? They train out of Fort Pickett.
They do, but this one wasn't too far. It was about Fort Belvoir.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too far out.
That's in Maryland. And we have planes going over our house all the time, jets. And I don't know where they're coming from, whether they're coming from Virginia Beach or not. They may, wherever the base is, but they're flying over our house. And you can see them, I mean, they're in a chase. You'll take one and then you'll see the other one zooming after them and doing the chase. Or they'll buzz you if you're driving on 40. They've done that to us. Driving in the pickup truck. And couldn't be more than 50 feet above our truck. Like,
I haven't experienced that.
oh, we
Okay.
did. It was so kind of scary. And it's like, so that they can train.
Did you get the license on that plane?
It's like, oh, I could just see. It's like, oh my gosh. We were skiing in upstate New York in the Etowah, I think it was Oak Mountain. And you're up pretty high on some of those mountains. And they were training. You were looking down on them training in the mountains, which was really awesome. But there's no plane traffic up there. I mean, you're talking DC area, plane traffic. And when the president got out there, I mean, he was adamant. Something happened. And, well, you're calling this president, something happened. You know,
I mean, and it's still being investigated, but there are so many flags that just makes you go, that emoji,
So let's talk about Gaza too.
I don't know anything about
Oh
that.
my gosh.
All right, so she messaged me about, and I was like, what the heck?
I'm gonna put a plug in for a news that I just discovered just on Roku channel, and it's called Real America Voice, Rave News.
Okay.
And I happened to pop on it, so let's see what's going on. Because some of the stuff I don't want to watch all the videos. And it was live. And I'll tell you, they were waiting for Netanyahu to arrive, and the pageantry, they said they have not done this in years when he's been coming in. There were flags, soldiers, Marine soldiers, all up and down the whole driveway, just standing at attention for that whole entourage to come through. An honor. I mean, he was being honored as an important guest.
Well, dignitaries should be,
Oh my
right?
gosh, yes. And then he had all the, and then I didn't stay watching it, but this was, I think it was going to be at 5:10. The president and Prime Minister Netanyahu were going to come out and do a press conference. I didn't watch that, but then later on I popped it on, and it was this morning. I turned it on and I thought, let's see, I want to see what that news, because I just found it yesterday. I said, cool. And he's talking about well, the President Trump says that, yeah, we're going to take over the Gaza Strip. Like, okay. It's like my eyes sort of blinked, and I'm like, that might be a good idea.
So the U.S. will.
It's nothing but a pile of rubble. It's been destroyed, demolished. And then I was watching here, just before you came, that he wants to make it into the Riviera of the Middle East.
All right.
Golf courses in Riviera. I think it'd be, I'm sure that some people are just looking at him going, are you crazy? Hey.
Well, Israel is supposed to be a beautiful nation. I mean, it's supposed to be lush and all this stuff, but I know with all the bombings and stuff, it's probably, in some areas and stuff, it's not good, but I mean...
Could you imagine what that would do to some of those in the Middle East? And we're like...
Oh, no, they're not going to like it. Their heads are going to spin just like some of these people over here they're spinning.
So, I mean, there's just... And then the prisoners that they're sending to Gitmo.
Uh-huh.
One person...
Which that's not right either. If you let them come over here, you ought to take them back. They're your people. You would...
Well,
but
El Salvador says they'll take anybody. They'll put them in their prisons.
And that's not a good prison, right?
Good for them.
So, no, Gitmo, yeah. So it'll be interesting, but it needs to be... So we've got to do... But I just don't get how you can't take your own people back. I mean...
Do they want them back? They don't want them back. That's why they were not worried about...
Because they're bad people.
They're bad people, and the Mexico's going to send 10,000 permanent troops on the border. Because I watched...
And Canada's going to do something also, right?
Mm-hmm. Because I think it was, somebody was on The View. And I only watched that because it comes up on my podcast. Because the person on there, The View says, well, it's a permanent... He said, yeah, and of course they wouldn't let the gentleman speak completely. You know, they
got to get the sound bite.
Yeah, because they didn't let him, but it's permanent, and he finally got the message across. So, there are issues that can be handled, and goodness knows he has the art of the deal. He knows how to do it. Mm-hmm. He knows what strings to pull. He's a businessman. What better person to run our country?
Well, going back to some of the stuff our money's going to, one place is going to fund Hamas.
That's right.
And then another time it's going, and it's like, what are we doing?
That's what is it, UN war?
I'm sorry. There's some things that we need to keep our business out of. We don't need to be, like I said, I don't mind if we need to help somebody, if, like if they've had a tsunami or a bad time, but no, there's some things we don't need to be putting our money into.
I think we should pull out of the UN.
Oh, yes, and I think he wants to, doesn't he?
Oh, I think, and personally, I think we should pull the UN right out of New York.
It's, there's a lot of things so be watchful, be mindful, keep your mind open, and see, don't just look at why he's wanting to do these things. He wants to get rid of Department of Education, because the Department of Education sets these federal guidelines that the states have to do, which, each state should have to be able to set their own guidelines, because this works for our state. It doesn't work in all states. So, and then the money, because the states have to send money then to the Department of Education, which could be kept in their own state and used. So there's different things that...
Well, yeah, when you come to education, I think that they've gone off. That's why some of our kids are crap when it comes to math and sciences.
Well, I hear teachers say they can't teach anymore. It's got to be this way, it's got to be on the computer, it's got to be by this, and you can't think out of the box. And, I watch, and I know it's a TV show, I understand that, but it kind of reminds me more of how we learned. It's When Calls the Heart, that TV show, and there's a school teacher on there, and of course she's a one-room school teacher, so she's teaching various ages, but she opens up her classroom to the outside, and outside they're able to find math, science, many things that just work together, and you've talked to me about this before, and so it just reminded me of that, and it's like, then their minds are open more, and then they start going, this has got to do with math now, doesn't it? And she's like, yes, or it could be art, or it could be science, or it could be biology, or it could be this. I haven't figured out their language, But I mean, it might lead to reading, because then you want to read and research. So anyway, there's so many different things that you could do.
Just say, okay, I want you to go out in that field, and I want you to make a soccer field for me with all the kids love soccer. Okay, so how are you gonna make your corners? 3, 4, 5 right triangles. Oh, how do you do it? And you get them involved in it. And how can we make this circle? Well, get a string and put it in, that's how we do. But get them doing that and measuring it.
But you can't do those things anymore. And to me, that's real teaching, because
Well,
those
there's so
are...
many social things that they want you to teach.
And there's so much more practicality to that way, because that's how life is going to be, I think.
Well, sure, it's application. You're applying something.
But it also, to me, opens your mind to go, hey, I don't know how to do this, let me go see. But I mean, if you're just sitting there and, I mean, I don't know, I feel like education could be so different.
It can be fun.
It can be fun.
I like to have fun. It got to...
And make you want to learn.
Well, sure. I tell you this cute little experiment to take with a dish of milk. 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Take a saucer. Now, your little guys would love, your little grandchildren love that. So you take a saucer, and you put just milk along the bottom of it, all right? Then you take some cake coloring.
Okay.
And I'd like to sort of make the lighter and darker colors, like red and yellow and blue and green, and put them in the 4 corners. Take a toothpick, put it in the middle, nothing happens. Take your toothpick and put a little bit of dish soap at the end, and put it right in the middle, and watch what happens.
It probably draws it.
It makes them swirl.
Interesting.
And it makes a pretty swirling picture. Now, you could say to the kids, okay, I want you to take a picture of this as it goes. And then actually put on. I could even see where you could do a time graphing, and how it spreads. And plot it on a graph like, ooh, watch, as time, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger as the time, and the colors blend in differently. You could do a whole panorama, you could do a whole science experiment on that. Just for
And that
fun.
would be fun.
It's fun.
And that's what we are about, right?
Learning is fun.
But keep your mind open, have fun, enjoy it, because
Put
it's
the
coming.
seatbelt on,
Exactly. It's a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster.
What's going to happen today?
We don't. All right. See you later, guys.